I'm currently live here in Pozzuoli in front of the Il Gozzetto bar. I was shown a crack that was really small, like that one over there. A resident showed me a crack just today, and yet this wasn't there. This crack that's running along this ground here, it's very deep. It's at least an inch deep and several inches wide. This is as a result of ground uplift. You can see the crack running along the ground here. How it extends even into the sidewalk. This is not because of magma pushing underneath. This is just because of the ground rising. The ground's becoming unstable. They're going to have to redo all of this. But I personally think it should be left untouched. At least the sidewalk should be left untouched for geologists to observe this. This is a geologist's playground. Like, this is perfect to do scientific research. How ground uplift is affecting structures. Right here, you can see the uplift crack is running down the street here. How it just runs down the street and then splits off, goes under this parked car, and then kind of breaks off into these little cracks. You see this typically in New York City because of weather. These cracks here are not weather related, though. This is because of uplift. And even here where the ground's more flat, you can still see these cracks. Another big one here too. Residents have told me that this is all formed very recently. Very recent. Basically, when I last came in 2021, these cracks were not here. Or if they were really, really small. You can see here the crack runs, goes under this grate here, and continues. And look how it continues right here. They even had to patch this up because the crack was so deep. Look how they even had to put metal wiring in here because the ground is just so unstable. Thankfully, over the last couple months, about since the middle of November, there's been limited earthquake activity, and the uplift has slowed significantly to about a rate under 1 millimeter or 1 centimeter a month. So it's become more slow. But this structure, because this is going over water, is unstable. And you can see this crack here, how it, because this is a bridge, see how the bridge, the whole thing is being uplifted, and so it's causing these cracks to form. They had to do a lot of work to reinforce this bridge. They may have to rebuild it. And a lot of rocks over there. So this is very, very significant uplift here. And just want to say hi to my viewers. Hi, Sam. Hi, Rain. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so just want to look at, these cracks are continuing. But keep in mind that this is an uneven structure because this is a bridge that was built to go up and down. So that's why these ground are cracking, because the uplift is straining the structure. So these cracks are are natural, but they are occurring because of man-made influences. Like, they wouldn't be here under normal circumstances. But because of the earthquakes, the uplift they form. These are not because of the quakes themselves. These cracks, I believe, formed during uplift. The cracks are as a result of the uplift, and the quakes are the same way. They're as a result of ground uplift. I can smell the sulfur again, which is coming from Solfatara, because the winds are blowing east, so it's blowing from the vent right now. I'm going to visit Solfatara or Pisciarelli tomorrow morning, but right now you can see the cracks here. Yeah, those planes are going to Napoli Airport. I'm in Pozzuoli, which is just west of Napoli. I have to take the metro to go back to Napoli. Thankfully, I have a pass, so I don't. So yeah, really, you can just walk. Everything is within walking distance of a metro stop, so very accessible. Some areas are not, but it's mostly accessible. Europe is very known for their really good mass transit systems. Yes, Johnny, it's nighttime. It's actually 9:56. So good afternoon to those of you joining us in the United States. Good evening for those of you joining from Europe. And good morning for those of you joining in the West Coast and Alaska. Because I know, actually no, it's good afternoon for everyone in the United States, because even in California now, it is, I believe, yeah, it's afternoon. It's 12:56, about to be 1. Yes, Johnny, these are cracks in the ground, but they're not because of magma. So as you know, this structure is hilly. You can see the road that goes up. So yes, there's been a couple of really small earthquakes earlier yesterday, but nothing significant so far. It's been pretty quiet at Campi Flegrei. Actually, the last time I visited, there were actually more earthquakes, which is good. Residents are finally their nerves were really shaken up, because you had several weeks of very strong earthquakes. They were considering evacuating the town. Now things have calmed down. Still a little bit uneasy, but things are calming down. So residents are being lulled back into a sense of calm, and hopefully it stays that way. But what I've noticed is that there would be uplift, then some quiet and more uplift. So I'm worried that we're one of those lulls before the next sequence of uplift and earthquakes will resume. We're kind of in a phase of tense unrest. My concern is that if in Solfatara the CO2 emissions will go down, that means there's some blockage, and that will cause this more uplift and more earthquakes, because the system cannot ventilate easily. Right now, the rate of CO2 emissions are constant, which in my opinion is good. That's good. You want the volcano to vent. You want it to outgas. But I could also show you the diagram when I get back to my hotel, because I'm using data. I changed to Wintry, which is the European version. So this is because of the uplift. That's a Dacia right there. That's the Italian car. It's very common in Italy. That's an Italian car company. It's called Dacia. It's like the equivalent of Chevrolet in America. So it's mostly found in Italy. You might also find some in France, but Dacia is mostly an Italian company. Okay, so, all right. Yes, so Johnny, to answer, do you have any questions for me about Campi Flegrei? I'll answer them to the best of my ability. So, I'm going to restart the live stream, just letting you know. I'm going to restart it with a better title. Alrighty. Some of those cracks are even going right here. That's a Ford right there. Yeah, even though the logo has been wiped off, I could still tell it's a Ford. So here's a crack right here. Continuing, okay. And